Well, outgoing US President Joe Biden is presenting the deal as a victory for his administration. That's despite criticism Washington's been supporting Israel's war on Gaza and escalating tension in the region.
This has been a time of real turmoil in the Middle East. But as I prepare to leave office, our friends are strong, our enemies are weak, and there's genuine opportunities for a new future. In Lebanon, there's an opportunity for a future, free from the grip of Hezbollah. In Syria, a future free from the tyranny of Assad. And for the Palestinian people, a credible pathway to a state of their own. And for the region, a future of normalization, integration of Israel and all its Arab neighbors, including Saudi Arabia.
Introducing Ramy Khouri, who's a distinguished public policy fellow at the American University of Beirut. He joins us from Boston in the United States. Ramy, welcome back to Al Jazeera. So look, we've heard there these competing theories, competing narratives on why this has been achieved now. Threats from the incoming Trump administration, these last-ditch efforts from the Biden team, the fact that Hamas and its allies, Hezbollah, have been degraded. Your thoughts, Ramy?
Well, this is pretty standard procedure for an imperial system as we have in the United States, being the overlord of the whole Middle East now as they see it. And it's kind of comic almost to see the president and the president-elect trying to outbid each other for what they've achieved, whereas we know from the actual behavior of these two men that they are 100% supporting the Israeli genocide. And they, even in their announcements today, they don't really talk about the Palestinians as real people, but there has been tremendous coverage in the U.S. media about the Israeli hostages that are to be released, with almost not a peep about the thousands of Palestinian prisoners to be released. So we see in both the presidential behavior and the acts of the Congress, in the performance of the mass media in the United States, a reaffirmation that this is not really about justice and equality for Israelis and Palestinians, but it's about an assertion of American might and the fact that the United States feels it can dictate what will happen in the region. Now, we don't know what actually will happen, but we do know what the sentiments are now in Washington. The fact is that the Israelis were forced to accept conditions that they said they would never accept, like a full retreat from Gaza, a lingering role for Hamas in governance in the future. Hamas has not been destroyed. These are important facts of political power and its exercise and its limits. The Israelis have to come to grips with that, and hopefully this will be an opportunity to shift into a bigger discussion of a permanent peace between Israel and Palestine and the Arabs.
It clearly, Ramy, goes without saying that any extra second, any extra minute without violence in Gaza is an achievement, but there is a sting in the tail here, isn't there? That, namely, this is pretty much the same deal put forward 6 months ago, in which time many people have died.
That's right. And the reality is that the details of the deal were not really the important thing. The important thing was the political calculation in Israel and in the United States. In the United States, the Democrats, an aging Joe Biden and a slightly inhuman Kamala Harris miscalculated. They thought that they could just say nice words about a Palestinian pathway to a future or something like that, and keep funding and arming and supporting and diplomatically protecting Israel's genocidal attack on the Palestinians. It backfired. The American people proved to be more rational and reasonable than the American government. So this is one aspect, I think, that we have to keep in mind here, how this will play out in the future. Here in the U.S., where I live now, public opinion in the Congress, behavior in the media. In all of these arenas, you see slight, slow changes, but continuing changes for trying to find a more balanced position of the U.S. government so that Israelis and Palestinians, Israelis and other Arabs can actually live peacefully and with equal rights. The Israelis don't buy this. All they want to do is use their might, and they're attacking. They killed around 68 Palestinians today, and they'll keep killing people until Sunday. This is their legacy. They did the same thing in Lebanon before every ceasefire. So we just have to wait and see how these dynamics play out, because there's important political dynamics that have been affirmed here, and they will have some impact as we go on.
And let's not forget, of course, that the Israeli government charged with actually implementing this ceasefire has been indicted for war crimes. Netanyahu is a wanted man by the International Criminal Court. The incoming Trump administration will act as guarantors of Israel's compliance. But what challenges do you envisage in these first days of the agreement when it comes into force on Sunday?
The main challenge is going to be to control the runaway Israeli killing machine, the military power of Israel, that Israel feels it can use as it wishes, where it wishes, anytime it wishes, across the entire Middle East, not just Palestine and Gaza, Lebanon, Syria, Iraq, anywhere it wants. The United States, as one of the three guarantors of the ceasefire, is a problematic issue, because the United States was supposed to guarantee the ceasefire in Lebanon between Hezbollah and Israel, and the U.S. and France were supposed to be the two guarantors, and they haven't done anything really serious. The Israelis have violated the ceasefire agreement about 1,000 times, according to UN statistics and others, and the Americans have done nothing. So the United States, as a guarantor of a ceasefire, which has come about because the United States was the driver of the genocide, is a pretty difficult line to swallow. But maybe things will change with Trump. This is the new factor. Nobody can tell what Trump is going to do. He definitely would rather not have a war going on. He saw the impact it had on Biden and the Democrats. So we just have to wait. These are factors that can't be predicted.
I wonder, Rami, if you can give us any insight into what might be happening in Israel right now, because, as we know, there's been this staunch opposition to the deal from Netanyahu's ultra-nationalist coalition partners, calling it a betrayal and defeat. They've always demanded nothing but total victory, and people like Ben-Gvir had promised to resign if the deal was reached. What now for Netanyahu's coalition and his political future?
His political future and his future in the courts will play themselves out in the next couple of months. The reality is that he does have a majority, a small majority in the Knesset and in his cabinet, so he can get this approved. If one or two people resign, he can get others in the cabinet to keep a majority. So that's not a big problem right now. The majority of Israelis would like the ceasefire to happen and to get their hostages back, and they're willing to release the Palestinian prisoners and stop attacking Gaza. So there is a slight difference between the right-wing extremist government that Netanyahu has and the public sentiment in Israel. The Israelis have learned that this killing spree that they've been on has not helped them, has not made them more safe, has not helped their position in the world, has not helped their position in judicial hearings all over the world or in public opinion. Israeli people are more reasonable than the Israeli government. So this is something that, again, will manifest itself. But the Israelis are going to be careful to wait till all the hostages are released before they affirm any kind of political sentiment related to the future of Netanyahu or the whole government, whether they tack back towards the center or stay committed to a right-wing government.
All right, Rami, always good to hear your thoughts. Ramy Khouri there. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Make sure to subscribe to our channel to get the latest news from Al Jazeera.